as to where we're at in the process. And again, we can disagree on the process. I just think that, I think it's important for us, and again, as you said, there are a lot of issues that need to be negotiated, and they're not little ones.
So this was the what if.
So it's,
Board fails to approve the plan.
Yep.
We still hire a replacement July 1st. The expected January 2003 retiree. We consider use of a floor to reduce overtime costs. That's again a negotiable issue, but, you know, it's something we could do. If we don't go forward with ALS, we can still replace Cook and have one extra guy and use it to help deal with vacations and injuries and things like that. And I suspect that the additional rate in the BLS would more than fund the one individual. And then to negotiate the new RFP contract by November 30th, we scrap approval, the approved internal ALS plan and consider alternatives for providing ALS. What else can we do?
What can I say? I have to say, I'm extremely optimistic about it, but I'm more impressed with the time and the effort that's put in. You know, Steve, I get the sense from you, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, that there's a sense of distrust with the whole situation.
yeah, you're reading it totally wrong.
Hear me out.
Yep.
Okay?
Mhm.
People at home watching, and I just need you to understand what you're doing. You may not see it, and I'm the new person, so I'm gonna give you a different view. And I think when you look at just on slide number 2, and you look at the committee members involved, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for everyone on there, including my 2 fellow board members. When you look at the time and effort put into this, I don't think there is anyone trying to hide anything. I don't think anyone's trying to negotiate, put themselves in a negotiation position here. I think we actually have something. We all have an ultimate goal that we all agree that we want to achieve. Do you at least agree with that so far? We have a goal that we all want, that we're all on board that we want to achieve.
Oh, yeah, I'll show you the side letter I wrote a year ago.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say.
Yeah.
So, I think waiting doesn't do us any good. I think we've, over and over and over, I've been out in that audience so many times, and I've seen us wait and wait and wait, and it does us no good. I've never seen it do us any good. And I think you have a lot of professionals, again, involved in this, especially when I see that finance committee involved in it. I get it definitely a sign of relief. I'm very happy to see them involved in it, so it gives me even more confidence. So, with all that said, I don't personally see at this point why we have to wait any longer. Like Mr. Delaney said, if we go through the process and we even submit the certification application, if I have this right, we still have the option to opt out at the end of the day, even if it's after submitted, even if it's going through the process. Because I think Captain Galvin said that if we don't have an agreement, then it doesn't matter. We can't be certified. Is that true? So we seem like we have a lot of off-ramps.
But that was
So why would we wanna
that was a
start?
half, no,
One additional, I don't disagree with starting the process because there's a boatload of work that's involved in getting an ALS license and a hospital affiliation. But I know we're gonna want a contract negotiated and completed before we turn it on. And that's a pretty aggressive number. I don't think it's impossible, but, you know, we're ready. We've been ready.
Yeah, I mean, this process has started to move since last November. We're moving at a fairly good clip. There's no sense to slow it down now. Just keep moving forward.
Especially when we have off-ramps. We have off-ramps where we don't put ourselves into a corner, I believe, and I don't think they put themselves in a corner.
I mean, I think this committee that was formed and put together, and the way this committee worked together, I think whatever went on in the past seemed to heal some of the old wounds, maybe, if they did exist. And I think there's a very good relationship now with the union and the town concerning the makeup of this board and how we've worked together so cohesively since November to get you to this presentation this evening. I mean, it's been a pleasure to work on this committee.
And you mentioned one last thing. You mentioned the cost to the taxpayer, which, if I read this right, I'm really not going to. I'm not sure if we see an actual cost to the taxpayer. So if that's something you can address, Bob, now, or is that something we
Well,
have to
I
address
think,
later?
first of all, the idea was to see if we, in fact, we could provide ALS service without incurring additional costs, or even generate some additional revenue. I think that what this exercise has proven is that, in fact, we can make this a cash, minimum of cash neutral addition to services for the town.
And it's a big
Yeah,
service.
and I think,
It's a big service.
one of the, obviously one of the concerns is, the four-man, minimum manning versus 5 and things like that. Well, it's pretty clear to me that we can't achieve that during the startup years at all, right? Because, we don't have enough revenue to support that concept. But, as we go forward, then, I think everything should be on the table.
Yeah. If you have two reasonable parties that want the same goal, I think we can achieve it without costing the taxpayer.
The way I look at it is, this is not a go until, A, the board decides to want to go forward, and B, that we have a contract in hand that makes getting there affordable.
Absolutely.
So it's got to be a win for both sides.
Absolutely.
And as far as applying for certification and then having to back out because we can't come to some agreement, little critter walking around the table here.
It's my friend leaving alone.
If we can't come to an agreement, then it's just a matter of canceling the agreement, saying we decided not to go forward with it. I don't think it cost us anything. And the other thing is that if we can say that we're moving forward with this, right, we may even have a better chance of getting this grant. And of course, if we got the grant, we'd be doing things differently. I mean, we started off
With the.
assuming that we were gonna bring the foreman in, we were getting the grant, and, and then, when we ran the first set of numbers, the other way, it didn't appear to be feasible. But, at the time, we were thinking of still bringing in the 4 people all at once. Now we're stretched this out. I mean, we're making it a 3-year project. But I believe that it's doable in this form. And, I look forward to a spirited negotiation on trying to come up with something that works for both the fire department, the community, and the board. Yes,
I
ma'am.
see your revenue projections. Has there been another one done, basically an optimistic revenue projection? Maybe even a realistic one?
Well,
When Mr. Mergendorf from Professional Ambulance came in, he looked at our pay mix, and currently, we estimated that we were getting $450 a call. He said that was very low. He said in the more urban setting that he works in the city of Cambridge, he gets $601 a call. He projected, I felt that because of our pay mix and the demographics of the community, we should be between $7 and $750 a call with the right rates, with the
But the answer to my other question is no one's done that. Basically
well, I
realistic.
mean, we looked
You
at, yeah.
mean, I
guess
think it would be worth
the
looking at.
optimistic number is the number before we scaled it down.
Okay.
Right, it's in that
And
ballpark,
I
right?
can use that number and
Yeah.
figure it out myself. Because to me, it adds a lot of, makes me.
I guess, what's our current BLS revenue? Anybody have an idea what that is exactly? 20,
Yeah, that's what you had. You had, told me, it was 207.
Yeah, 207.
2009, that's what it was in.
yeah, right. And we're adding $100,000 to that for BLS, 50% increase.
This is right up my alley. I mean, this is the stuff that I've been looking for a long time, to see us look at doing. I'm pretty happy with, I mean,
So, I mean,
Really?
if, Steve, if
I'm encouraged.
you feel we need more than a couple meetings, discussion, more of this with, answering further questions. I have no problem
No,
with
if the
that.
consensus of the board, it appears as though it is, the majority of the board is ready to move forward with it, and go ahead and move forward with it. You know, and I'm not gonna, beat a dead horse here, other than, I still think there are some major negotiations that need to take place, and needs to be quantified and determined, which will determine whether or not this is gonna work or not.
Mhm.
It's just a question of approach, I like to know what I'm getting into before I get into it.
But
You
you're
know,
not getting into anything.
Well,
And
I
and
think,
again,
yeah, no, that I understand, and, I think that,
and as far as,
want to go into executive session and talk about, where
my guess
we
is,
might want to be on this.
my guess is there's gonna be a
I'd
lot of
save that for
discussions about it
another night.
over the next few months. But again, again, if you're under the misimpression that I'm looking to stop the progress on this, that's not the case at all. I would like to think that I was part of the impetus that got it going and get it jump-started again. Again, it's just the approach. I like to know and have things quantified and nailed down a little bit and know exactly where our pitfalls are and what the hurdles are, and can we get over them, before I can go on and commit. And again, I don't want to falsely commit to the state that we're doing this thing if we really don't know if we can. And to me, right now, we don't. We don't have enough answers to a lot of the important questions that need to be answered as far as, what are the costs gonna be, who's gonna cost, how much is it gonna cost us to really do this? Who's covering what costs, are we paying the guys to go to school while they're in school, are we covering their shifts, we're not, that's all expensive stuff up front to get going. And important to them, so we need to be fair on both sides here. Those are just big issues, along with a whole host of other ones. And again, if you have a list of hurdles that we have to jump over, I wish you'd share it with all of us. I don't know if you've listed them out as a committee, this is what we have to do.
I can tell you,
I don't need to do it, if we have it, just share it with us, I don't need to run through it now, because some of it's gonna be something for collective bargaining. And probably more appropriate for executive session. That's all.
Okay.
But as far as the intent, it's everybody's intent to have the North Reading Fire Department deliver ALS to our community. It's just a question of what cost, and can we afford to do it? Can we come to an agreement to do it? We stated that over a year ago.
Bob?
Jeff,
Yes. I think what I'm hearing here is that with the negotiations, or discussions, I should say, not, they weren't negotiations, they were discussions that you had since, November, for the past 6 months or so, that you are encouraged by the discussions you've had back and forth to be able to go forward and, for lack of a better description, take a leap of faith that we'll be able to pursue the ALS as intended.
well, I don't look at it as a leap of faith. I think that we've had enough discussions. We kind of know where the issues are going to be, and it's a matter of sitting down and coming up with some fair and equitable
Mhm. Yeah, I think,
negotiation over those couple of issues. There aren't many.
I mean, on the surface, this appears to be a very good idea, a good plan, well thought out. I think that during the 6 months, I think that some of us were waiting to see some information come gradually to us. I know that I work a little bit better, that I don't think you came up to these conclusions at the last, hour and said, this is the game plan, but through the course of the 6 months, we were asking for little bits of FYI information, which would have been helpful for me in that regard. It's just an observation. If you just let me finish, okay? All right. That the information in here now, we're looking at a month to make a decision on it, all right? For the most part, this is the first time that I'm seeing it. Any questions that we had on this, we've asked, but it was always, we're gonna make a presentation, we're gonna make a presentation. And I thought that if something was